You're watching Pick of the Flicks with Tony Douglas, and welcome to my review series on great fight films. Today's movie review is the action-packed street fighting drama Lionheart. This low-budget fight flick, released in 1990, stars the muscles from Brussels Jean-Claude Van Damme. Lionheart presents Van Damme in his physical prime and was one of the first films to showcase Van Damme's acting ability and natural charisma. Lionheart has gone on to establish itself as a cult classic in the action genre, but the confusing thing about the film is that it is identified by a number of different titles. Depending on which country you are from, you may be scratching your head wondering if you've even seen the film, so I hope the following title breakdown clarifies things. Lionheart is actually the American release title. In Germany, the film is known as Leon. In France, it is called Full Contact. In Australia, it was titled Wrong Bet, and in the UK, the film was labelled AWOL, Absent Without Leave. According to director Sheldon Lettich, Lionheart was inspired by the 1975 Charles Bronson film Hard Times, a movie that I've also reviewed in my series on great fight films. Just like Hard Times, Lionheart was the perfect vehicle for its lead actor, and for audiences in the 1990s, Van Damme updated the concept with his own brand of athleticism. Van Damme also shared screenwriting credits with director Sheldon Lettich. In Lionheart, Van Damme plays Leon, a soldier in the Foreign Legion who deserts his North African outpost after receiving news that his brother has been seriously injured in Los Angeles. On arrival in the US, Leon teams up with Joshua, a street fight promoter, who introduces Leon to the world of illegal underground fighting. Joshua is played with enthusiasm by Harrison Page, who puts in a fast-talking, low-rent Eddie Murphy-style performance.
$5,000 go a long way to the land of sunshine.
It is not long before Leon decides to use his fists to help raise money for his brother's family, and as the fights clock up, it is Joshua who nicknames Leon Lionheart.
Hey, the winner, ladies and gentlemen, Lionheart, King of the Jungle!
A novelty factor in the proceedings is that a rich, unscrupulous female called Cynthia runs the underground fight club, and you guessed it, she has her eyes firmly set on Van Damme. Thrown into the mix is Cobra villain Brian Thompson as a steel-jawed, suit-wearing fight promoter, and kickboxers Tong Po as Mustafa, a legionnaire hot on Van Damme's trail. Also, if you look hard and fast, you should be able to spot Tybo inventor Billy Blanks as a gang member. What makes Lionheart a great fight film is that it doesn't hold back on action. It presents a string of no-holds-barred gladiatorial fights in various locations, including back alleys, car parks, squash courts, and if that's not enough, an incredible fight in a half-empty swimming pool, where Van Damme and his opponent are both wearing identical black leotards. The assortment of bare-knuckle battles come in all shapes and sizes, including a tussle with a Scotsman in a kilt, and of course the final confrontation with the deadly Attila the Hun, a monstrous Moroccan with huge sideburns and a ponytail that would give Steven Seagal whiplash. Highlighting the action and propelling the drama is a pulse-pounding orchestral score by John Scott, which features over 20 original pieces of music. Lionheart was made on a budget of $3 million and became a surprise international hit in 1990, well before it reached American shores. When Hollywood discovered the positive buzz about the film and the firepower of its new star, it was Universal that realised they needed a piece of the action. They quickly acquired distribution rights for the United States and renamed the film before releasing it in US cinemas on January 11th, 1991. Lionheart came with an explosive marketing campaign that stated, "Van Damme is Lionheart." This was followed by the tagline, "When the streets are a jungle, there can only be one king." The film was a sleeper hit at the US box office and grossed over $24 million, about 8 times its budget. Lionheart's success raised Van Damme's international profile. It cemented his place on Hollywood casting lists and helped lift his name to marquee status in the United States. The overflow effect ensured that Lionheart became a favourite on video rental shelves, and just like its multiple titles, different versions of the film exist around the world, with some fans still searching for the definitive cut. All in all, Lionheart is a cheap and cheerful action film that impacted fight fans in its time and place. If you were there in the 1990s, you simply couldn't escape the Van Damme phenomenon, and Lionheart is one of those rare action films that continues to grow in stature. Now, nearly 30 years later, when Van Damme films are discussed, Lionheart is ranked up there amongst his best. Why? Because the film is a two-fisted knockout, with memorable fights and a whole lot of heart. But more importantly, Lionheart proves that Van Damme is more than just a kickboxer. Well, now it's over to you. What do you think of the film? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Or is it just okay? Better still, would you watch it again or recommend it to a friend? We want to know your thoughts, so please have your say in the comments below. Also, before you go, please subscribe, and while you're at it, just go ahead and tell us the name of your favourite Van Damme film. Until next time, this is Tony Douglas, talking movies for Pick of the Flicks. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.